upstairs. I thought I'd wear a shirt that matched the box. Right. Hello, welcome back to Whisky Wednesday. Another Wednesday, another whisky review with me, Joe. So, last week I reviewed the Glenmorangie Signet. This week, kind of continuing my kind of premium whisky reviews, the Glenfiddich 21-year-old Gran Reserva, which is a rum cask finish. And thank you very, very much to my good friend Matt for bringing this bottle for me to review. Matt's just over here, and he'll actually be joining me for next week's review as well, which I'm going to be reviewing something very special I've never ever tried before, opening up fresh and actually trying it with Matt on camera. So the first time I've done a whisky review with a special guest, so you'll see him next week and he's very much looking forward to it, and he's also given me a little bit of a rude sign off camera. Anyway, Glenfiddich 21-year-old, it's 40%. It's been matured in ex-American oak casks, ex-bourbon barrels from American oak, and then finished in a rum cask for 4 months. And I thought I'd reviewing Glenfiddich, wearing a purple top which kind of matches the purple box, and that kind of, you know, rich mahogany, rich velvet style that they're kind of going for with this particular whisky. And I've also got my Glenfiddich glass, so it's like a big advert for Glenfiddich. But it's not an advert. Right, anyway, Glenfiddich rum cask. Pour myself a nice little 15ml, just over 15, probably about 20ml. Let's give this a little bit of a nose. Alright. So, on the nose I'm getting butter, straight away. Kind of butter, honey. There's a lot of vanilla, as you'd expect, not only from the bourbon cask, but from that extra rum cask. Obviously, most of you guys assume would have tried rum at some point in your life. Rum for me is that kind of vanilla, that molasses, the kind of sugary demerara sugar notes that you get from it. So, vanilla pods, getting a bit of kind of New York cheesecake. So a bit biscuity, a little bit of that barley note. Slightly kind of leathery as well, right? Kind of almost leathery green fruit, and then a lot of banana as well, caramelised banana. And I know I've used caramelised banana before in my tasting notes, but this is definitely caramelised banana, and again that will come from the rum cask influence. So yeah, it's a lovely nose, really kind of complex, but soft as well. When I was kind of tasting this before reviewing it, I spent a long time on the nose, because it's so pleasant, so kind of full of flavour. Well, not flavour, kind of aroma, I should say. Right, let's give it a little taste. Now the palate, immediately when you first take your sip and you're swilling it around your mouth, it kind of explodes with flavour. So you get so much oak, so that kind of butteriness, vanilla, really kind of velvety as well, kind of a velvety texture on the tongue and on the mouth. A little bit of kind of sugar syrup, dare I say pear. Yes, a little bit of kind of pear influence, lots of custard. Let's give it another taste, because I always say first taste a little marker, second taste you'll get more. On the second taste, wow. Definitely, it's custard and pears. There's that kind of almost, you know, do you remember little foam banana sweets? That kind of candied banana. And it also really reminds me of bananas and custard. But imagine if you made bananas and custard and added loads of sugar to the custard mix. It's like that. It's like overly sweet bananas and custard. The start of the palate's really good. I'll give you one more taste and I'll tell you a little bit about the finish, what I think of that, because I've kind of half made up my mind already about the finish, but let's give it one more taste. Quite kind of fudgy towards the end. A little bit of spice brings it up a little bit, but I think the finish for me is where this whiskey kind of falls down. It's not particularly long at all. It kind of just falls a bit flat. So you got the nose, like, you know, when you start a whiskey, you're like, you know, for me, when I was nosing this whiskey and tasting it, I went, this is my process of how I tasted it. I went, oh my God, that's amazing. Oh wow, that's really, really good. Oh wow. So I'm getting all that and I'm smelling it. I taste it, I'm like, big explosion of flavour, and then finish it, you're like, it's like a deflation, like I feel a bit deflated on the finish. It's very soft, very kind of silky, but I'm left wanting a bit more bite. I don't know how it would taste if it was bottled at 43, 46%. But I think if that was bottled at 46%, I think the finish would just stand out a bit more. I think for me the finish falls a little bit flat. I'm left with a nice taste in my mouth, but it's just not long enough and not kind of exciting enough. So that, for me, is where the whiskey is a little bit of a letdown. Don't get me wrong though, it's still a superb whiskey, especially in the nose. I mean, still smelling it now, I mean, that is just awesome. So score-wise, I mean, you can get this for around about 108, 120 pound in the UK. Score-wise for that, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really, really damn good whiskey. Tastes amazing, very well made as well. Like, you can tell they've used some really good casks for this. But if this had a higher strength, 43 or 46 even percent, or maybe even cask strength, but then it's going to cost loads more, I reckon that could be a 9 out of 10 at least. But I'm never going to know unless I phone Glenfiddich and be like, oi, give me the whiskey. Give me some 46% of your rum cask finish, but they're not going to do that. So yeah, 8.5 out of 10. Damn good whiskey for the Glenfiddich rum cask Gran Reserva. If you've had it, let me know what you think. If you agree with me, please leave me a comment. I'd love to know. And I will see you next week for a rather special Whiskey Wednesday review. Cheers guys, bye bye.